Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to be doing a sketch that I got from Pinterest. And I want to say this is from Scrapbook. I think it's scrapbook.com. So I'm going to leave this here if you want to get some papers and things together and come join me at the craft table. I'm going to turn this sketch into a Christmas sketch. So I'm going to be using two photos of my Christmas tree this year. I had trimmed them or printed them out to be like on 3x4 um, photos. So there's two photos there. And now I'm just taking all of the branding strips off of the papers that we're going to be using. And I'm going to create my diagonal using this blue piece, but I realize it's not going to fit, in my cutter very easily. So I'm going to instead measure down an inch from the top and then another inch from the side here. And then I'm going to try and line this up. I'm going to use my two Tim Holtz rulers to kind of get me as straight as line as possible, lining up my 2 points, and then I draw my line, and I'm just going to grab my long Tim Holtz shears to cut this out by hand. And then you'll see we have that piece, so that way it's a little bit shorter like it is in the picture. So we're going to go ahead and glue this piece down. And periodically you may see me kind of reaching out to my phone to kind of turn it back on so I can see the sketch while I'm making this video. Okay, so once we get that down, I looked at maybe using one of the branding strips, but I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. So this sheet was cut at 6x12. So I'm going to cut the branding strip off. And then I was thinking I would make it like 8 inches. And then I decided, no, maybe it's not that long in looking at the sketch. So I made it 7. And I figured it can go like that. And then if I cut the photos, which I'm going to use my little Fiskars for, I'm just going to trim those real quick. Then I think they can go right in the middle, really. And by the looks at the sketch, it was a little bit shorter than the two photos. And granted, the two photos could have been shaped more like square photos instead of the 3x4. And that's okay. I still like how mine comes out. And that's the cool thing about sketches is they're suggestions, right? So if you want to take elements of it, if there's something about it that you like but you don't like the whole entire thing, grab what it is and then make your layout using that inspiration. So I trimmed my photos to be 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that way we would have a nice border all around the 4 sides. And I'm just using plain Nina Solar White cardstock for the base of the photos. I was going to use another color like gray, and then I was like, no, there's white in the blue and white pattern. I was like, the white will be good, and it'll help the photos stand out on top of this, busier pattern with the ivy. So I like those. So instead of making it like lean off of one side, I'm just going to put these kind of together right in the center. And then we're going to start cutting some elements. So I wanted to use this big Christmas. So I'm just cutting straight across. And this little element up at the top, I think I'm going to wind up using it maybe underneath the photo. And though I can see the Christmas right now, on camera, when I was putting it there, I was like, I'm not going to be able to see it. So this is where I take a little bit of liberties, okay? We're going to flip it. On the blue and white side, the Christmas will stand out. I can still do the same square kind of over that section, and my photos with the sentiment underneath, which I believe is happy, happy holidays. Oh, happy, happy holiday. Just day, no less. So then, as I'm going through the ephemera pieces here, I realize, I'm seeing a lot of ornaments. I'm like, well, instead of using butterflies, yeah, they only said 3. I'm like, what if I did 4 ornaments? So I'm just going through some of the ephemera bits here and looking to see if there were any other um, ornaments that we could use. I like the bells, but I think I would want the bells for something else. So I'm going to use the 4 different shapes here. And I think I'm going to put like, they got their hole punched already. So I'm just taking their little centers out. And I think, yeah, I like the fact that we're going to use the ornaments. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting everything down. I always use my tape runner with a little bit of wet glue. You guys know this if you've been with me for a while. Anybody who's coming new, I do that for a couple of reasons. So if I lay it down and I don't like where something is placed, I still have a few seconds. I can pull it back up and move it if I needed to. For the back of the photos, I'm going to use my Mega Foam, which is from Picket Fence. I think it's Picket Fence. I have it right here. Yep. Picket Fence Studios. And I love this foam. It's getting smaller. It's starting to scare me, but I have it in white and black, so that's at least a comforting part. So even if this roll runs out, I still have another roll I can work on. All right, and we're just gonna put the squares in the back, and here I wanted to put this little piece, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't where it was going to be overlapping. And that just gives the photos a little bit of height, a little bit of interest. Okay, so once I take the backing off, I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of glue. Again, give me those few seconds, because let me tell you, that foam is sticky. I ain't lying. It's very sticky. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing with the other side, trying to make sure that I get that little bit slightly off angle. And had I been thinking, like hindsight being 2020, I probably wouldn't have put my photos down right away. I should have done the bulbs right away, the ornaments, right? But it's okay, because where there's a will, there's always a way. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so I know up at the top, I wanted to put this gold and white sticker. I had seen it previously when I used this collection, and I figured it would be a great way to kind of highlight the word Merry, because up in the right hand corner, I'm going to put Merry Christmas. And I wanted to use these gold alphas. So I'm just pulling out the letters that we need for Mary. And then, of course, we have the stickers that we had for the Christmas. So right now I'm just putting a little bit of added glue. And these are actually more like little chipboard pieces. It's not foam. I don't know why I thought it was foam, but just to let you know, if you were thinking about getting it, it is chipboard. But it's really pretty. I like the gold. They could do a whole sheet of gold, just the gold letters, and I would get like 2 of them. Okay, so Mary is down. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue behind the Christmas uh, puffy. I guess it's like a puffy font. And I go to put the word Christ down, and I realized I didn't leave myself much room for the moss. So thankfully, because of the glue and it hadn't dried yet, I was able to pick up the Christ, lay down the moss where I needed it to, and then create our Christmas. And then we're going to put the little dot over the eye, and then that is set. So now I'm going to figure out which ornament I want where. I think I want it like that. And I was thinking I would look for maybe my gold thread. And then I remembered I still have some black and white twine from the project that I've been working on. So I grabbed the twine, the baker's twine, and we're going to use that for our element. It'll be perfect because we're using this black, sort of like black and white, you might as well say kind of gray plaid paper. I figured that would tie more of the black and white into the layout. So I'm just putting some foam squares behind the ornament, and then we're going to lay it down and tuck the strings behind the layout. You'll see that in a second. I'm just adding my dots of glue. And then I'm going to flip that over and lay some double-sided tape over top of it. Not taking the backings off. I just want to leave those down. But I realized I went way crooked when I went to go lay those down. So that's why we had to readjust. Okay, one down. Let's do the next one. I don't need it as much because on the red one is going to be up closer to the top. So I'm not going to need that much twine. Right. And then once we get that, I'm going to just go ahead and thread through and then make a knot. And we'll get this attached to the card front, or the card front. The layout as well. I got cards on my mind, actually. I actually didn't make many Christmas cards this year. Normally I do because, you know, I'm working on the videos for the Friday sketches, but I've been doing layouts instead. So, yeah, no cards been made. So I'm going to have to finish them before my work Christmas party. Because, you know, once you start making cards for people, they do not want no store-bought cards, okay? They be looking for your cards. So I realized here, I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. But I think I'm going to go ahead, put this down here, and then I'm going to do a little fake out. And you'll see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the bulb. And then I'm going to cut just a little bit above the knot that I'm making here. So that way, tucked under the photo, you'll see a little bit of the black and white baker's twine, excuse me. And it'll look like the thread is coming up under the photo, and then it's going to come up from the top part of it and then wrap around. You'll see it here in a second. And this is just the way to kind of have that, like, oh, the long string is going all the way up effect without having to tear up the layout to make that happen. So I'm going to try and line up with my ruler. I'm going to place some glue on the twine and then stick it underneath the photo using the pin. And then I'm going to try and lay it down here with some wet glue. But I think I sanded up and I realized, you know what? That looks like it's crooked too, you know? So we're going to wind up doing the same thing. I'm going to make sure I kind of move it over. And that's what the wet glue does. It allows you time to still move stuff and it not mess up your entire project. Okay. So once we get it straight, I'm going to lay down and press those. And then we have one more after I put a little bit of glue in there. I just want to make sure that string stays where it's supposed to. So for this green one, we're going to pop that one up on foam, but this time we're not going to go all the way around. On this one, we're going to make it stop right underneath the word Christmas. And then I'm going to put a little puffy element from the um, phrases. And we're going to put that right up above so it looks like it's coming down from that under the word Christmas. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series and that you've been inspired to make Christmas layouts. We may be making some more because there was a whole 2 Christmas collections that I wasn't even able to get to this year. I have Paige Evans and I also have 49 and Markets, which is such a beautiful collection. So I'm a little bummed. So we may have to still play with that. All right, so we're putting that element there, and then we're gonna just sprinkle a few things from the phrases all around. So we got some what looks like enamel dots. We have that like the star that I put at the top of the green ornament. We're gonna add one of those like in a greenish blue to the center of the blue and white ornament. And then I have one of the enamel dots on the green. That's what I'm doing right there. Yeah. So just a few spots here and there, right? And then, okay, so once that part is done, I'm going to grab the sticker sheet again. And I was thinking about snowflakes, but instead I grabbed the gold hearts. And they got a border, a white border. So it helps them to stand out on the darker color papers as well. And then once we lay these few stickers down, you know what time it is, y'all. Guess what time it is? My regulars know. Oh, yeah. It's splatter time. When those photos start to get covered, I'm bringing out the white picket fence, distress stain, and we're going to hit that. And I love how that looks on the gingham or the plaid. I guess you would say the plaid paper. Then we're going to hit the whole thing with the gold. And then in the very end, because I have to do it in threes, you know I'm going to get some black soot on here. And looking at the layout next to me right now, I mean, the black is even showing up on the plaid paper, you know, which you would think it's kind of black on black, but it does. You can see it. And I'm going to hold it up here so you can kind of see the splatters I've done and the finished product. I love it. And this is one where I don't think you have to have a full conversation. So I didn't save a spot for journaling because I think the pictures speak for themselves. You know, it's a Christmas trip. And I don't have to put anything there. If I wanted to, I could turn it around and just write something on the back of it. So that way, if, you know, people are looking at it, they can always look back there. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a great weekend and Merry Christmas, you guys. Come join me Sunday if you can at 1 p.m. I'll be live here on YouTube and on Facebook, and we're just going to have some fun and craft a little right before Christmas. So I hope to see you guys there, 1 p.m. on YouTube. See ya.